let's get rid of the timing. Please, to talk about the future of economy with Lefebvre Dalloz. Welcome his CEO, Julien Tanguy, and Gabrielle Halpern, philosopher, with your clapping right now. Thank you very much. Guys, the stage is yours.
So, let's talk about human intelligence. What happens tomorrow if your clients, corporate or individuals, hire legal AI agents like humans? I mean, browsing LinkedIn, Malt, or any other platform. And what about we get them to work along with you and with agents? So I'm Julien Tanguy, I'm the CEO of Lefebvre. Lefebvre is a French publisher at the very beginning. We are a 200-year-old company, and today we are the first legal tech in Europe with a product that is genial. So this is the name of the product. And we are working in 8 countries, and we are here to enable knowledge. And we'll come back to that, because today, when you look at our market, almost every lawyer is using AI to work every day. So we did a study, 86% of lawyers are using AI on an everyday basis. And I'm very happy to be on stage today with Gabrielle. So Gabrielle, maybe a few words of introduction.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gabrielle Halpern. I'm a philosopher. I used to advise different ministers of the French government before co-leading a startup incubator. I've just published in France a book with a very provocative title, Artificial Intelligence and Man Created God. And this book will be published in the United States too in September. It's exclusive news for VivaTech. And I'll tell you more about that in a few minutes.
Yes, so we are going to talk about transformation, everything that happens with AI, but with a very different angle compared to what you used to hear. The book of Gabrielle is quite fascinating because we look at AI through, as I said, different angles that are not productivity, impact on the number of jobs we'll have. It's more about, what is going to happen in the relation we have between us and AI, and through all the organization. So if we step back and we look at what is happening today, we see AI entering, the business everywhere. We see that we have AI systems that have ability to act, to run tasks, to integrate, let's say, business workflows. And as I said, every day we see that it is becoming the way that people are accessing the knowledge and the way people are enabling the knowledge. So then there is few questions we need to answer looking at these new tools. The first one is the output good enough? Can I elaborate with the outcome of AI? And what do I choose to delegate to the machine? So we see this massive adoption everywhere, and obviously the question of trust is very important, and more than trust, it's trustworthiness that is one of our main challenge. So Gabrielle, you try to answer this kind of question through your book, and it's really food for thought. Could you elaborate on trust and what it means for AI?
Yes, thank you very much. I said that when artificial intelligence is discussed in the public debate, there's a feeling that you have to choose a side between being technophile or technophobe, good or evil. And I think that this binary approach is not very interesting. As a philosopher, I'm much more interested in asking what artificial intelligence says about our humanity, our society, and our relations to the others. For me, artificial intelligence seems to be and to have become a form of divinity, onto which we project divine attributes and a faith that is almost religious. Well, we always say that artificial intelligence is going to replace human beings, but honestly, Do you know many human beings who are able to offer you a line of reasoning in like 5 seconds, a page-long text of 30 seconds, or generating an image in less than 1 minute? Well, even if Aristotle, Leonardo da Vinci, and like Einstein were really brilliant, well, none of them could have ever do such a thing. And so therefore, for me, artificial intelligence is not at all replacing human beings, as we read and hear everywhere. For me, I think it's what it aims to replace God, or at least the idea that we have of God. Indeed, unlike other gods, artificial intelligence is accessible 24/7, and it has great competitive advantages. Unlike priors to the gods, artificial intelligence responds to all our promptings. And so where does artificial intelligence find such power? Well, this is what Hannah Arendt used to say. Humans need to base their relations on trust, on faith. It's because you have faith in someone that you want to marry him, or if you have like faith in someone that you can collaborate with him. So faith is really important for relations. And, but the problem is that who can we trust today? We have 56,000 friends on social networks, but who is here for you? Who will be there for you in the future? So I think that the more powerful artificial intelligence becomes, the more it questions the reliability of humans, and so the reliability of professionals. So today, who deserves our faith? Who deserves your trust? That's the question.
And that's a question that any professional, especially in the legal, tax, and regulatory industry, asks itself. Who do I trust? Who can I trust? Can I trust AI? And that's a quite good question. So trust means that from a business perspective, you don't want your users, you don't want your employees to believe blindly your AI. You need to know exactly what AI has written, where does it come from, and how can you secure the source of the text that are used by AI. So you have two risks that you can face. The first one is an error, obviously, hallucination from the AI. And the second one is over-reliance. So if I trust everything that is coming from AI, like I could trust everything that comes from God, then what does it happen in my day-to-day business? Am I still able to question myself, verify the source, or own my own reasoning? This is a big question. So what we see today, and the question we have is day after day, the risk is you become lazy and stop questioning AI answers. So as a company and as an AI publisher, what we try to do is to explain to the users where information that are published by AI come from. So what is the source? Which doctrine has been written about this topic? Just to be sure that everybody knows where it comes from, and also to challenge the source, because you always need to challenge. In a way, we need to understand what is coming from AI. We also need to be strong when it comes to drive the assumptions that will be used by AI to give you the answer. We need to be really focused on that. And Gabrielle, which link do you make between AI usage and professional identities?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the question. There is, for me, an enormous impact of artificial intelligence on professional identities. Indeed, what we do has a strong impact on our brains. Recent discoveries in cognitive sciences proved it. For example, a violinist doesn't have the same brain as a taxi driver, of course, because, well, their activity doesn't stimulate the same brain area. So in other words, while clothes doesn't always make the man, it seems that we have the brains of our profession. And it's quite fun because there are a lot of philosophers in ancient times who had this intuition. For example, Aristotle. Aristotle said, we are what we do. We become what we do, and identity is the fruit of a repeated action. But so, now the question is, I am what I do. But if I delegate part of what I do to an artificial intelligence tool, am I still the same person? What about my identity? What about my professional identity? What about the professional identity of a lawyer, a carpenter, a teacher, a doctor, a journalist, or a philosopher? Do they still have the same professional identity? Do they still have the same brain? And how do they feel? And how do people consider them? Indeed, I led a long research work on that question last year, so on the impact of AI on professional identity. And first of all, I looked at scientific literature. And well, the problem is that since we all have the same use of artificial intelligence, whether the job that we have, well, the problem is that it stimulates the same brain region. And this brain region is linked to error detection and regulation attention. So there's a kind of risk of brain standardization. Since, okay, the doctor verifies what AI says, the lawyer verifies what AI says, the journalist, the teacher, we are all verifying what AI says, as if tomorrow we were all going to become great verificators, so with the same brain. So that's what cognitive sciences say. But I wanted to go further, and so I led a lot of interviews with different kind of professionals in order to ask them about their professional identity. And so this is what I love about AI, because it questions the very nature of each profession. What makes an engineer? What makes a doctor? Is it the medical examination? Is it diagnosis? Is it medical care or the writing of the prescription? What makes the farmer? What makes the lawyer? Is it a question of pleading, advising, negotiating, dispute resolution? For me, artificial intelligence is a kind of chemical indicator that challenges every profession. And in my study, I noticed that the strength of professional identity depends closely on the use of AI and the relation that you have with it. And it's very subjective because it's really linked to the relation that a professional has with his profession and the way he defines it. For example, for some lawyers, what defines a lawyer is pleading. But for some other lawyers, it will be advising. And for others, it will be negotiating, etc., etc. So it's very interesting because they won't feel threatened the same way with the use of AI, depending what they decide to delegate to it or not. We would say that artificial intelligence, well, that's the main question. What are we going to delegate to it or not? And the answer each professional gives to that question will implicitly reveal their definition of their own profession.
Yes, and what we see is that AI is moving fast, very fast. It means that, you know, the frontier labs, they work on many things, and this will have an impact on the way we will work tomorrow. So we need to speed up in reinforcing our cognitive proficiencies. And these are those cognitive proficiencies that make us unique. Indeed, thinking about what Gabrielle said about the way you work, till now, we were producing raw analysis. Now, we go through the same process for any profession. We are framing the problem, we are challenging our assumptions, we are always putting things into context, trying to give more information to AI without trying to find a solution. We are owning our decisions, and more important, at the end, we need to take our own responsibility. And if there is one thing that AI will not manage, it is the responsibility of the deliverable. I mean, as a professional, you will always be responsible for the usage you will do with AI. So what we do as a legal AI editor is that we try to keep our system as a sparring partner of our user. It means the tool is not here to reason, the tool is here to help you to test, some assumptions, to see what has been decided by a court in front of an issue, and see how things can be managed with your brain. So we are here to help you to elaborate, to doubt. Doubt is so important, to question, and it takes you, along the right way. And this thing is clearly at the heart of what we need to do today. We need to leave space to human reasoning. Reliability is not faith. The process is made visible. You understand the process and how it goes. And our outputs are structured in a way it triggers verification and contextual judgment. Your judgment is important because it is what makes you responsible for the use of what you have. Indeed, the question we need now to manage is how do we train the newcomers on the labor market? You did your studies, you are just leaving the university and you need to work. And the question is, how will we train you to become a senior? And this is a big question that we have in many organizations. Concretely today, with a tool like Genial, you can do a search in 2 or 3 minutes, and you will receive, a one-page resume of 10 rulings that have been chosen out of 1,000. Before that, when you were a junior in a law firm, you were, reading a lot of things, a lot of rulings, including some rulings that are not totally in line with what you were searching. But reading those things, you were learning things. It will not be the case anymore. So the big question is, how do you train young people now? And the question behind that is, what will make a company, let's say, a competitive company? How will they be able to compete with others on the market? And visiting many law firms, you have many different points of view on that. The first point of view is, I don't need junior anymore, I have AI. This is something that is quite common, but that is moving a lot. You have some companies that explain that they will be able to train a junior and to make a junior a senior in 18 months instead of 4 years before. It means that you will be able to generate revenue after 18 months, that rather than before you had to wait for 4 years to do that. So you see that you have different ways of looking at what AI will have in terms of impact on the organization. So we talked about, AI and the identity, but AI is also about the relation between human beings. So you worked also on this topic. What does AI make in terms of relations between AI and people, but also between people?
Yes, it's an enormous question. After this research work on the impact of artificial intelligence on professional identity, I wanted to explore the impact of artificial intelligence on professional relations. And so we have a lot of elements in my book. It's quite interesting because there was a survey that was made, and we discovered that 58% of respondents ask or might ask questions to AI rather than to their colleagues. And 54% trust AI more than their coworkers. Among those under 35 years old, 60% have already asked a question to AI, rather than a colleague. And this percentage rises a lot, till 67% for really young people. So I think that AI will definitely disrupt the balance of power between professionals. So the question is, why is there a growing trust in the technological relation and a decreasing trust in the human relation? Is it because of the spread of remote work? You don't know if your colleague is here or not. You don't know if you can bother him or not. You don't know. So, you prefer to ask something to ChatGPT because ChatGPT is always here. Is it because, you have so many diplomatic dimensions to include to your approach each time you ask a question to your colleague or to your manager that, okay, you prefer ChatGPT? Is it because professional relations have become so political and based on an exhausting power dynamic that you prefer artificial intelligence? Or is it because you're afraid of asking stupid questions and to diminish yourself in the eyes of your colleagues or manager? So that would be a question of humility. Well, there's a wonderful European thinker who inspired me a lot in my research work. His name is Elias Canetti. And Elias Canetti used to write that we should never forget that when humans appeared on Earth, each time they were meeting someone in the nature, they were wondering, are you going to eat me or am I going to eat you? Are you the prey or are you the predator? And I think that it seems that this archaic reflex continues even in the professional world. So the fact that artificial intelligence is preferred says something about our professional relationships or ways of managing and collaborating.
Yes. So we see that AI has many impacts on the way we work, and we definitely need to reinvent our organizations and, let's say, give space to collective debate, collective intelligence, which is something that creates a company. And what you said about, remote working, AI, is really something that that needs to be think about. I mean, having people working alone at home with AI, without contact, with their colleagues, without time, to elaborate, to think about a problem, is something that, in my view, is not good. And people who are working with me know that I'm not a big fan of 100% remote working, and I even consider that one day of remote working a week is good enough, to keep those relations in the company. So I really believe we need to define what we want to do with AI. What are the tasks that we are deciding to delegate, and what are the things that we keep at human level. And I truly believe that the time you save with AI, when it comes to running tasks with low added value, you need to save part of this time to keep people together, thinking about the new product that you could launch, thinking about not only innovation, but a word that I prefer, which is imagination. And it's not that easy, but at the end of the day, this is what we really need to do. And so we said, we are talking of identity, we are talking of relations between people, and you go even one step further with humanity, human being behavior. So what is the last step of your reasoning, Gabrielle?
Yes, well, it's a little bit provocative, but we're here for that. I'd say that for me, what if artificial intelligence were a mirror of our humanity or our lack of humanity? A study conducted in a school in France, there was this study, and we asked those little children if they prefer to seek help either from artificial intelligence or from a classmate in order to resolve a mathematical exercise. And most of the children said that they prefer to ask help from artificial intelligence. And when we asked them why, they said, because the machine won't make fun of me. So when ChatGPT, Copilot, DeepSeek, Claude, and all the other ones show more kindness than our parents, neighbors, or colleagues, more patience than a teacher, more empathy than a doctor, more attentiveness than a human, than a lawyer, more creativity from a lawyer, and more discernment from a human resources director. Maybe artificial intelligence becomes a cruel mirror of our mediocrity and the loss of certain values. And I think that as human beings, we abandoned long ago all those values. So I think that we are a little bit hypocritical now when we cry out against the great replacement of humans by artificial intelligence. I think that maybe we lost our humanity. I think that the great injunctions, in a lot of the religions, you have the 10 commandments and a lot of commandments, but perhaps this new God, that is artificial intelligence, is giving us only, not a commandment, but kind of injunctions, like if you don't behave like a human being towards your neighbor, your colleague, your friends, well, you will be replaced by a tool that is paradoxically more human than you are. And I think that AI forces us to question our values, our knowledge. If AI knows everything, what are we going to teach to students at school? And we think that it's a very, very new question, but in the 18th century, the French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau used to ask this. He denounced in his time the kind of this kind of trained monkey education that we give to children. Well, we know our books of history by heart, but do we truly learn from the lessons of the past? No. There's a kind of growing gap between the scientific, technical, technological progress and the human progress who didn't really change. We send rockets to the moon, but we are not better human beings. So I think that, for me, the good news is that artificial intelligence is forcing us to rethink the purpose of learning, the meaning of knowledge, and time has come to reinvent schools and a lot of other things.
Yes, thank you, Gabrielle. Maybe we are at the end of the session. Do you have, let's say, a few takeaways to wrap up what we said?
Well, I would say that if artificial intelligence has a role to play for our humanity, it has to be, first of all, in the questioning of our decisions and acts, the questioning of our relationships, the questioning of our ways of looking at the world around us. I think that AI asks us real questions, so it's up to us not to give it false answers. What about you?
Well, I think that, in law, in finance, in consulting, the challenge is not to deploy AI. I mean, the challenge is to see how we will work together with it, and also what will make, the difference, how we can be as human experts more distinctive, salient, and how we can properly value our work. And at the end of the day, we need to work all together. So it's about, collective human intelligence. Well, thank you very much. We are at the end of this session. Enjoy VivaTech 2026, and do not hesitate to visit Lefebvre Dalloz. Our booth is in this building at the same floor, at the opposite of this room. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What an inspiring talk! Gabrielle, Julien, amazing talk. Thank you very much. Lefebvre Dalloz is clearly ahead on those questions. Please stay with us because it was just a perfect way to launch this afternoon on the Executive Arena. Look at the program right now.